because I don't know anything about technology in terms of webinars.
Man, bro, we've been putting this together for the past three months.
Yeah, yeah,
Good
yeah.
job.
We live now. We live now.
Okay.
All right. So we're streaming. I'll just go ahead and grab that YouTube link. Make sure
Oh yeah,
actually
we're
look on
live on
YouTube.
YouTube
Make
now.
sure it's going.
Cool.
Yep. I'm just checking YouTube on my phone and to make sure it's
Yeah, I just got the notification on my phone.
all right. Cool. All right. So send the link out. I'll send the link to you too, Corey, just in case you want to. You using your phone. You're not gonna be able to send it out, right?
Nah,
Oh, okay. All right.
it's all good.
Yeah. All right. I'll just post it. I'll just post it on our sites. You know, they'll just catch the live stream on YouTube. So good. All right, so I'll just start it off, and then after I do the introduction, I'll send the links while you guys are opening up and chopping it up. Just my camera right quick. All right. Peace to the family. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DJ, the Money Coach Expert Interview Series, the live edition. I'm Nick Westbrooks, and as always, I'm joined by the founder of the 7 Spheres of Money, DJ, the Money Coach. How you doing, DJ?
Hey man, I'm live. I'm excited, and ain't nothing stopping this agenda, baby. We fired up. We got the guy who is the master at credit. So somebody didn't want us to get this credit information out to them people that need it more than we do. But we here, baby. And we about to do this thing and chop it up and make it happen.
That's right. We ran into a few technical difficulties going live, but we're here now. We're a little late, pardon the tardiness, but we're here, and we promise you it was worth the wait.
Oh yeah, definitely. So man, if you don't know who we are, let me introduce myself again. I'm DJ the Money Coach. I'm the founder of the 7 Spheres of Money financial education system. We've been around since 2000, 2 decades, 20 years in operation. We've helped over 20,000 people become consumer debt free, and we've helped over just about 100 people become financially independent in America, which means they own everything with their name on it. They don't work for anybody, and they have a lifestyle that's second to none. Doesn't mean they make $1 million a year, but they control everything in the enterprise, and they have passive income, and they're able to do the things that they really love doing. Just to give you a story about my backstory before we introduce our amazing guest. I came out of college, $40,000 worth of consumable debt in addition to my student loans. And I got turned down for my first mortgage, and I got turned down for my first business loan because unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize I had a 525 credit score. Even though I had good quote unquote professional income, I had a 525 credit score. And I ended up finding a book called The Road to Wealth. And I read one chapter in that book, and it talked about how credit, is created. And I immediately studied that. And within 12 months, I took my credit score to 700. Within 24 months of that, I took my credit score to 800. And that was like 17 years ago. And my credit score has not gone back ever since. So what I like to show people is, here's the proof of the pudding. That's January, if you can see that. Okay, that's January, because sometimes people say, man, that ain't real. So, that's May, so the credit score is right there. And this is right now. And you can see my credit took a little dip, but that's because I, acquired some more assets. And I'm not excited about that, actually. I'm actually excited about after I achieved that credit score within 2 years of that, 2002, I came consumer debt free, owned everything with my name on it. My house, my cars, everything. I was free, man, like put a truck off my shoulder. And then 6 years later, I became financially independent. I had achieved a 6-figure income that was passively created through businesses, real estate, and dividend stocks. and I had a clips a 7-figure net worth, and I was still, young. I was still in my late 30s, early 40, I think it was. But I wasn't even excited about that, to be honest with you, Nick and Corey. What I was excited about, I started helping people like Corey has done, and he's going to tell his amazing story. And I started helping churches, non-for-profits, businesses, and help them because my mom was a victim of predatory lending in the mid-90s. She was also a victim of identity theft while I was going through college. And I just vowed to myself, if I ever figure out how these things work, I'm going to help a lot of people. So we started helping people moving forward. And now today, we've achieved a lot of people helping accomplish their dreams. And then about 5 years ago, I'm listening to a show on the radio with a thing called Brother Rich. And this brother comes on and he's talking about credit. And at that point, I thought I was an expert at credit. Matter of fact, I knew I was an expert, but there's always somebody knows more. So he talked about affidavits and notarizing things, and even about the bad credit, that it's a violation of the public, rights, that entities can put your credit score out on another, entity's, system without your permission. And I thought about it. I said, you know what, that is right, but it still didn't sound right to me. So you know what I did? I went out and I tried it. I didn't have any bad credit, but I knew people who I work with that had credit situations, filed bankruptcies. And the thing I liked about what Corey said is that even though it's your credit problem, it doesn't have to be on your credit report. But he wasn't excusing that person from having that bad credit from irresponsibility. He said, you can get these credit lines off, but you still got to take care of that bad credit you got. I'm not going to absolve you of the bad credit, which I knew during that time, people would get these replacement credit lines, boost up their credit score, go buy some stuff, and then come right back and dip right down. So I went out and did exactly what Corey said. I challenged some bad credit lines with some clients of mine. We got the notary, got the affidavit, sent it in, and that stuff got taken off. And then I told them it's still your credit, but their credit scores went up. And I showed them that in order to continue to work with me, they had to take care of their credit, because I don't believe in bankruptcy. Personally, if you are responsible, knew what you were doing, it's different from business credit. And when I saw that worked, and we got his book called The Conspiracy of Credit, I said, this guy is on to something, and I got to start sharing this with my members and my clients. And the first thing I did, I started sharing with my more well-to-do clients, because I was just at that level. And then I said, you know what? We got to start sharing it with the regular guy and gal. And from that point, I said, man, if I ever get a chance to meet this guy and thank him for that opportunity to increase my knowledge base on credit, I would. And lo and behold, he shows up on the show that we're both doing business with, Urban X. And there's Corey sitting in a chair being interviewed by Malcolm. And I said, man, now we three steps away from knowing how to get in touch with this guy. And lo and behold, we got in touch with him. So Corey P. Smith is the #1 expert on credit, in my humble but honest opinion, of 20 years of doing this. And I've seen a lot of people. It don't matter what color, nationality, ethnicity they are. He is the best at what he does. And I think the thing that propelled me is that we kind of came from the same thing, growing up where you grew up in a broken environment for a period of time. You weren't taught the proper things in the educational system that held you down. But then when you crack the code, you start getting out and exploring it, and then people still don't believe it. But with that said, I'm going to introduce Corey P. Smith, the author of the Conspiracy of Credit, and he's got other books, but that's the one that resonated with me. So Corey, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. Man, I've been following you for a long time, and it's happy to finally get you on our program and forget about that long-winded explanation. But hey, man, you're doing that great work. How you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm doing okay. Thank you guys for having me on. Like I always say, I'm always excited to talk about credit and just talk about trying to hustle, through this life that we have to live, and, turning people on to some of the ideas that I have in my head, and some of those ideas that I've been able to execute to put myself and my family in a better financial position. And it all starts with credit when you're not born into money. And then you just got to be smart enough to finesse the credit into assets. And once you do that, you got to position yourself to where you're able to invest money and save money at the same time. So I don't hold any. I don't hold any information back. You know, I'm very forthcoming as far as when we're discussing credit and how to crack the codes that these credit bureaus and corporations and insurance companies have put in place to hold our people. And I won't even say our people. I'll just say poor people or American citizens that haven't found their way, and credit is kind of has been a roadblock for them. So I have no problem sharing the information. Of course, I put out a lot of information through books, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and yet and still, I have not been able to put everything out because some things are better discussed face to face. But I try to give away as much as I can. Like you said, my story is somewhat similar to yours, and me coming from where I had to come from, and uh, when I did get to the point where I had people that really depended on me, such as my wife and kids, it made me more determined to figure out like how can I navigate through this system of credit. Uh, because at the end of the day, whether you believe it or not, man, that's truly the matrix that we live in, and you couple that with politics, and you couple that with religion, and you couple that with the educational system, as well as one of the big things is we have people having to deal with law enforcement that they don't always approach things with rational thinking. Like all those things collectively keep a lot of us in a depressed economic state, which ultimately prevents us from living our best and happiest lives. So, um, but once again, man, I'm happy to be on the show. Like I said, nothing's off limit. Whatever question that you might possibly think that I might know the answer to, ask me, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna give it to you straight. So uh, for those people that do not are not familiar with me, yeah, I do have 4 books out now. One is How to Outsmart the Credit Bureaus, Conspiracy of Credit, The Unbreakable Laws of Business Credit, the Credit Dictionary. I actually been sitting on 3 books. They ready to go, but I just been dealing with a lot of other things. And those 3 books are Credit is for Poor People. Um, that's somewhat along the lines of Conspiracy of Credit, but a little bit better. The other book is The Game of Credit, and it's just pretty much me talking about my life, my struggles, and how I was able to get to where I'm at today. And then there's a smaller book that I'm putting out on how to utilize credit investors, with all the contracts, just teaching people identify uh, how to identify credit investors, how to control them. And when I say control them, I mean you got to have people that not going to flip it on you once you've put in all the work to use a resource that they have no idea how to use, and in most cases, some of them don't even really care to use it. They're content with the lives that they live. So um, I got into this game. I've been in the credit game since late '90s. I ain't gonna hold no punches, like all the way back from messing with the tax ID numbers and creating credit files to even
Hmm.
what people doing today. Everybody's messing with CPN numbers to uh, even before people even knew how to play some of the games with the identity theft reports. I think I probably was doing that even before the Fair and Accurate Credit Transaction Act was even passed. Uh, but I got to that point, like I said, once I got my family and I had been through college, I found like, damn, man, I got a degree. Uh, I want to be this proud teacher. I have a family, but I'm getting a check, and I'm literally living from paycheck to paycheck.
Mm.
Even the apartment that I was living in, because I had bad credit, and you had, man, my student loans were like damn near 200,000.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, because got used to
Professional debt.
borrowing the money, huh?
You had professional debt.
Yeah, yeah, from undergrad, a little bit of grad school, but anyway, like for people that haven't heard my story, I literally woke up in the middle of the night, like just anxiety had taken over me, and I literally told my wife, I was like, man, we gotta let this apartment go. We gotta move in with your grandmother or my mom, and we gotta fix. I know what it is. We gotta fix our name, which is credit. And I somewhat, like I said, I had been dealing with it, but I just really hadn't conquered everything. And then, once I got her to get into agreement with that, that was it. That became my life every day. Every day, that was my life. I was on the phone with somebody at the credit bureaus. I mean, I took it as far as setting up a whole company. Like back then, I don't know whether you noticed, like once you had a company set up and you were trying to establish accounts with the credit bureau, they would give you tours. You were able to take a tour of the credit bureau.
Right.
And what happened to me, I was able to get a tour with Experian, believe it or not. And
Wow.
it's the first time I ever really told this story. I actually um, met a young lady who worked for Experian, and she gave me a whole lot more insight. And I was able to take the information that she gave me and couple it with my own research. And that just took me to a whole nother level. And then I just really started to see things differently. But once that happened, like I said, I just got on the quest I was angry. So that's how the first book came about. If you read the book, you notice I put whole lot of tricks that some people may deem um, immoral or now you shouldn't be doing this, but I mean, it's a game.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody else is doing it. Why not?
yeah,
I mean, they created it. You didn't create it.
right. I didn't create it. I'm just playing a game. So that's how the first book came about, and it went from there. I made a lot of money. Even tapping into the shell portion of business credit, made a couple of $1 million. Ran through it like 18 months. I'm broke, So and I had to rebuild. So that made me even stronger with the credit. That's when I discovered the whole affidavit process and removing student loans, bankruptcy, tax liens, all of that. And it led to the second book. During the time I had to go and get a job working as a corrections officer. It took me 2 years to put the conspiracy of credit together. I did it as I worked overnight shift as a corrections officer, just putting everything together. When I put that book out, I had no idea what it was going to do what it's done thus far.
Of course, I think them demons trying to attack us again because once you clapped your hands, it was almost your audio got muted on us. Can you hear us clearly
Yeah, I
still?
can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, there we go. We can hear you now. We can hear you now. So
Make
they made a couple million dollars. Yeah, they don't want this information to get out there. Whoever those extraterrestrial people are, man.
Yeah. So, but anyway, man, let's get into it. Like whatever.
So
Whatever.
let me ask you this, Corey. When you made that decision that you needed to get out of the apartment, start over from scratch, what kind of feeling was that for you outside of anger? What was the other feeling did you have? Did you have a feeling of desperation, destitute? You had jumped into the abyss? Because for me, when I knew what that low of the lowest couldn't get no lower, I always had the fear of just two things, dying and going to jail. Those are my two fears of growing up. But once I got to the fact that I wasn't going to jail and I wasn't going to die early, it's kind of like I got in attack mode, like you're talking about, and I was holding no prisoners. But when I got turned down for that first mortgage. But then when I got turned down for the business loan, that's when it really pissed me off, because I had a 4-unit building that was being sold to me by a family friend. I lived in the building and I had the cash to buy the building, but I still got turned down. So at that point, I said, you know what? This ain't right, man. And I'm smart enough to figure this out. And if I figure this out, I'm slaying everything in my pathway unapologetically. But I wasn't married at the time. So I don't know how that feeling would be when you got to, get humbled and then turn and have your spouse be on the same page. Because usually that's when people get separated, when the money ain't going right. If they really don't have a real relationship, it's like, hey, you ain't trying enough and we in this situation and you got this education, but we still in this situation. So what was it that helped you stay together in that lowest point that you just said, hey, man, everything else is irrelevant until I take care of all this business? And how did your spouse support you and not run away from the situation? Because 9 out of 10 times, that's usually a sign for divorce and breakup when something like that happens.
Well, as far as that goes, like for me and my wife at the time, we both were young. She was, my wife was in love with me, and likewise, I was in love with my wife. So that alone, like she was willing to, she never judged me based on my position. She always would judge me based on the potential that she knew I had. So she was willing to take the journey with me, but, at the same time being a young woman and a mother that wanted to be independent and be, I want to be with my husband and kid in our own space. She was a little bit reluctant to let the apartment go, but I convinced her, and I was like, man, give me 24 months and I'll give you the world. So, it was pretty cool from that standpoint when it came to my relationship.
Hey, Corey, for some reason it's going in and out again. I don't know what's going on, brother, to be honest with you. With this technology.
Can you hear me now?
It's still muted. Can you hear him clear, Nick?
No, he sounds muffled.
Yeah, it was crystal clear. And I don't know what's happening. You giving us all this great information. I hate for us not to hear it and the people not to be able to hear it.
How does it sound now?
Still a little muffled.
Yeah, it's still muffled.
Still muffled.
I don't know if something, because I know when you first started talking and you clapped your hands and then it was like something
happened. Let me try this. Can you hear me now?
That's a little bit better, but not as well as it was when we first did it.
Yeah, still sound like you underwater. That's what it sounds like.
Man, I don't know. Maybe it was something I did when I clapped.
There you go. It's back now. It was.
It was back.
Man, it was back and then it left again.
I don't know. So I still sound muffled.
Not right there. When you just said I still sound muffled, it was clear.
That was perfect.
Maybe because I need to speak up. It's almost like
I know you're a laid back guy, so I don't want you to do what you got. But I mean, you giving such great information about the value of just the relationship, like you said. Your wife didn't judge you, man. That's powerful in of itself. And usually in poor communities, doesn't matter what color, ethnicity you are, that's usually a problem when economics is a problem, that people start to put the blame game and say, hey, you're not good enough, because they've been indoctrinated they're not good enough, because that credit ties into your social economic status in the United States of America, unfortunately.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But yeah, I mean, she was willing to go through the process with me. And then as far as, I've never been the type of person that I don't get to a point where I guess, I could say, well, I'm desperate. I'm never, because, I learned early on, like even as a teenager, like being desperate for real, and I don't mean to sound cliche, it will lead you into making mistakes. And for me, I just always been the type of person, pressure forces me to think. And I'm the type of person, I like to conquer whatever, I'm like a for real wolf. when it comes to trying to navigate through life. And I pretty much always been that way, given, my backstory from the time I was a small kid to the things I had to go through that led me even to being with my father. So when I got to that point where I knew I had to fix my name and my wife's name, and I knew where we were at, like we were broke, I wasn't desperate. I was excited about the journey, and I was, I was just ready to do the research. I'm still that way to this day. If it's something I don't know, I feel like it's something that somebody else knows that I don't know, I'm gonna ask. Like I made a post last night. I said, don't don't be fooled. Don't mistake my intelligence for deception. I said just ask for the information, and I practice that. Like I ain't gonna never like if it's something that you know that I feel like I don't know, I'm just gonna straight up ask you. And then once you give me the information, it might be something else that I learned somewhere else, and that's just gonna elevate me. So during that time, I was just ready to I was ready to get to it. Period.
How old were you when that moment happened in your life? How old were you?
I was 23.
Okay, so you were still real young, so you still had that tiger hadn't even been fully unleashed at 23.
Yeah. I was like, 23, 24, maybe going to 24. But I had already been through college, had started the first year of grad school. That's where the loans came in because I was trying to survive and got caught in that trap. Like, man, they giving away X amount of dollars in student loans, and it was easy to get. But I was around that age.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of. I was about 20, 26, 27 when I had my first two experiences. But I came out of school late because I had partied out of one school and had to restart. And then when my parents, kicked me out and told me, "Hey, you got to go get it yourself," then I had to pay for everything. So I graduated a little bit later, so I can understand that. So when you come across people and they don't understand how credit works, and you got all these different gurus out here that are telling them all different things, what's the first thing you do when you talk to somebody that thinks they know about credit but they still have credit problems because it's a behavioral situation versus a symptom? How do you address them? Because there's personal credit, there's business credit, there's commercial credit, there's all different types of form of credit, but people think they know everything and they don't know anything. So what's the first thing that you talk to them about when it comes to credit before you show them how to master credit if they haven't picked up one of your books or they haven't seen your success, or think that, man, what the thing I really was impressed with? When you took the homeless people off the street and made them in the person that God meant them to be by putting credit powerfully in their hands and utilizing. Man, can you talk to that? Because I ain't never seen nobody do that. Never.
Well, I see it. I see it a lot now.
Right. I'm talking about, I'm talking about 5, 6 years ago. Now everybody's copying it, but you were the original person.
What happened with that? Man, I was just actually sitting at the light with my wife, and I seen the homeless guy, and I just told, I said, man, that guy he pretty much has more value, or he has more to work with than the person that works a job every day. I said, because he like a blank sheet of paper, like a newborn baby. And that's what gave me the idea. And I was like, man, I could duplicate some of the things that I've done with credit for myself through these individuals. So what I did, I went to the homeless shelter in Memphis, uh, homeless shelter on Poplar Avenue, and I found two guys. Found more than two. I had to interview a few people just to make sure they were in their right state of mind, wasn't on drugs, wasn't alcoholics, but just somebody that had fell on hard times and was trying to find their way back. And I found two guys, and I paid for them to stay in the homeless shelter for like a couple of months. I took care of everything for a couple of months, and I pretty much gave them an identity.
set their residency up at one of the houses that I had at the time. It was like a little rental property in the hood. Took them to get their driver's license, switched over, made sure that they had their social security cards, gave them a job on paper so that it was put to the credit bureau. And then what I did, I took one of the credit cards that I had and changed the address to the house that I had them staying in. And once I did that, I added them as an authorized user to their card. And
Okay.
it automatically gave them the score.
And that transfers some credit to them instantaneously, right?
Right. Once that happened, you know, I really built from that point. And then I already knew at the time, like back then, it was a whole hell of a lot easier to go to the bank and get stated, you know, income.
Right, stated, no dot.
Oh yeah, man, it was sweet.
2008, and the greedy people in Wall Street messed that up for the good guy.
Yeah.
I hate that even right now today, because, and I mean to interrupt you, but if you treat your corporation the way it's probably supposed to be treated, you should be invisible personally in the world. But by doing it the right way, now that you can't do these no doc and stated incomes, even though you are justifiably legitimate, it prevents you from doing the things that you deserve to do based on how credit and corporations were initially put together. So when that got eliminated because of credit swaps and derivatives, now it's sometimes hard for me because I don't want to pay all these unnecessary taxes. I want to avoid taxes legally and utilize the loopholes. But when I do that, I actually decrease my income personally. So if I got to go out and buy something personally where I can't buy through the corporation, which happens sometimes, it's hard for me to show all this other stuff that I achieved without the corporation, if that makes sense. And a lot of times you got to show sometimes a wad of cash, or you got to establish other credit lines that you don't want to be exposed to have people to know about, because you don't want everybody to know about everything that you're doing. So talk to me how we can get beyond that but still have the same power before 2008 happened, because I know you're an expert at this and building those credit lines that way.
I'm not gonna lie to you, even well, I don't have to play the game to that extent now. But even when people don't know this, like even when the banks want you to show some cash, like there are companies out here, individuals out here that are for a percentage. Like you need to show 100,000 in the bank, they can make that happen. You know, just in order for you to secure a line of credit or a loan. So, you know, I was utilizing those resources, you know, when I had to, even back then. Now I still play the game, you know, with the paperwork, but I'm still legal with it. Like if I gotta, I won't say still, because like I said, I don't have to. I really position myself. But when I did, yeah, I played with the paperwork. Like I made sure I had a great CPA, if you follow me, you know,
right,
that knew what I needed to do to get certain things accomplished, whether it was on a real estate deal or whether it was with one of the banks. And then once I got that accomplished, if I had to, you know, come back and readjust some things so I wouldn't have to pay, you know, as much as far as paying as much as I would have to the IRS, we did that too. But you know, it was very important that I truly had a CPA that knew what the hell he was doing.
Man, that's funny you say that, because the CPA and a great attorney, tax attorney, and a CPA, tax CPA specialist is your best friend. And it's funny you say that too, Corey, is because I was watching a piece on Master P, and he talked about how he paid Michael Jackson's attorney $25,000 for an hour to find out how distribution contracts and business work, because at the time Michael Jackson owned everything, catalogs of the Beatles, Elvis, all them jacks. And he said if Mike was doing this, somebody's got to have taught him how to do this. And he found out that his attorney did. So when you talk about that CPA, I try to tell people that in the 7 spheres of money, you got to have experts that just specialize and do one thing, like a heart surgeon or a pulmonologist. You know, somebody that's all they do. And when you talk about CPA, I bet you your CPA does nothing but what you need him or her to do, and they don't do generalized taxes. They're not like H&R Block. And when I talk to professionals, this what just always cracks me up, man, is that, oh, my buddy does my taxes, and they've been doing this and they've been doing that. And I've been like, really? Well, what's their specialty? What lane do they like? Man, talk a little bit to the people about the difference between that, because those people ain't cheap, and they make you money when you paying them $300, $400, $500, $700 an hour. They make you hundreds of thousands.
Exactly, and I've had the same CPA since 2004. Same guy, right? And he still don't cut me no breaks. So, but it's very important that an individual who's trying to really handle business and elevate himself financially, it's very important that he have a CPA. It's very important, and people have heard this. It's very important he has an attorney. And you need to have these people, especially when you're dealing with an attorney, whether it's on the business side or if you feel like, you know, you might be playing in the gray area on the criminal side.
Right.
You need to make sure you have these people on retainer. Or like even right now, my accountant, he's $5,000 up with me because I had paid him for something that I needed to be done. That was like 2 months ago, and I've been in Miami for a month, so I still hadn't got back to him, but we good. But it's important that you have people like that on your team, and it's important that you have somebody who just a real savvy businessman that's able to mentor you. Because at the end of the day, think about this. No matter if a guy makes millions of dollars playing basketball or football, or somebody's an actor, or somebody's a teacher, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you know what all these people strive to be? They want to be what? They want to be a businessman or a businesswoman. At the end of the day, they want to be those things, but they don't know how to operate. They don't know how to operate in their space. I had to learn the hard way. I lost a lot of money, even when you're talking about the things that the banks have put in place because of everything that's going on with the credit. Man, 2006, 2007, I started looking overseas. You know, a lot of people don't know that they loan overseas. Nobody never asked Akon, man, how the hell you get $1 billion line of credit from a Chinese bank? Because they loan. No
Right.
different than
That's funny. Did you deal with HSC back in 2006?
HSBC, yeah.
I was dealing with them big time, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, they was loaning money.
Right.
They was loaning money. So I was willing to travel wherever, wherever I need to go. Like I just did a podcast a few weeks ago. Marcus Gentry, Hidden Gems of America, and he was asking me some of the things that I was investing in right now. And I just told him, man, I actually just invested in a cargo ship
Okay.
over in Africa, and man, that came about just me having a conversation with some young guys that's already getting money, some young African guys that's already getting money, and the guy just made a statement to me because I asked him about, like, man, what happened? I thought you was gonna buy the Lamborghini truck. And he was like, man, F that, man. I got my dad. I'm buying a cargo ship. And I was like, for real, like, I was like, man, how can I get in on it?
Right.
And like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I absolutely know nothing about it, but I'm learning. But the money that I had, I was ready for the opportunity. And so going back to what I said, at the end of the day, everybody strives to be a businessman or a businesswoman, but they don't know how to operate in that space, and they don't know the proper people that they need to have on their team. But one of the most important ones is a CPA, especially when you start dealing with money, especially when you start trying to maneuver around real estate, maneuver around, the paperwork that you need to have these banks look at you in a different light.
Right.
Just to get it done, because it's sad. And our president said this one time on the show. He was like, he was in a restaurant. Donald Trump said this. He was in a restaurant. All these people that was with him, and when it came time to pay, it was like, "Oh no, Mr. Trump, don't worry about the bill. Don't worry about it." And this was long before he became president. When he said he looked over, and these regular people, they making them pay. So this same perception works when you're dealing with business and you're dealing with banks. If you got it, if it looks like you don't need it, they're gonna give it to you.
Right.
But if you look like you're desperate for it and you need it, they're gonna make you jump through hoops. So
man, that's so funny because I think the worst thing that happened to us is we get a formal education, and it dummies down your expectations of what you can have. And when things come across and you don't ask people questions, like you said, how you get involved in that deal in the cargo ship in Africa, it's because you just asked. And a lot of times, that's the same thing that happens for us. I'll talk to somebody interested and just say, hey, how do you make your money? And if they share that information, I say, well, how do I find out or get involved in one of these deals? And a lot of times they want to brag about what they do very well. That's, person's most important topic is themselves. And if you keep your ears open and you paying attention, a lot of times you can elevate yourself to another situation. And I'll give you an example. We just got a verbal agreement on a opportunity for a truck depot. And all we did was ask the person how they made their money and how much they needed. And it was just $250,000. But apparently they couldn't find other people that could actually come up with the money fast to help them on this project they were working on for 18 months. And we just happened to be there and said, you know what, we can do that deal. Show us what it looks like. And then we went on. I mean, this is how these things happen, right?
Right. Exactly. And I'll say this, man, like you mentioned, there's so many people doing credit repair that they really messing the game up. Because the same way we on this internet, they on this internet. Meaning people that work, the people that's in the loop with the credit bureaus, people that's with these lending institutions. They see everything that's going on in it. And man, it's funny because I've never seen so many credit repair millionaires in my life. And I'm being sarcastic because I look at these people and I always say, man, if a person is trying so hard to prove to you that they rich or they got the money, trust me, they don't.
Right.
They don't. And that's how a lot of people getting sucked in. And you ask me, how do I approach people when they think they know a lot about credit? I might ask one question, and it might be something like, when I talked about jamming one time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a person that's really been in the loop and been doing it, you would have known what the jamming process was when it came to dealing with the credit bureau. Even now, people having a hard time removing things from Equifax. I cracked the code. Whether it's like a lot of people using the police report, man, they own to that. A lot of people using the affidavits, they own to that. But however, there is a way to still use the police report, but it has to be within a certain time frame. You have to put other certain documents with it to make it fly with Equifax. The other two, Experience, TransUnion, you still can kind of, bully them to do what you need them to do. But Equifax, they just straight bucking the system, but it's a way to make them buzz. But one of the reasons why they acting in that fashion because they watching. Man, it's to the point where you got celebrities, people that's supposed to be rich, they endorsing credit repair companies. Why is that?
Well, they
It's
get a big check.
That's right.
That's
That's
it.
right. And it's just another, income stream for them. Like me, I don't do no credit repair. I just put the information out there. But then again, even with the information being out there, most people lazy. Like they're not gonna even execute.
Well, hey, Corey, say that again. Most people are what?
Most people are lazy. Yeah, they're lazy. Like they're not gonna execute.
Right.
Like man, where I'm at. Like I don't sleep. Because I got more years behind me than ahead of me.
Right.
So I'm at a point where I'm running so fast because I know I got daughters. I have a granddaughter, and I know at some point I'm gonna transition. So I'm to a point where I'm for real. Like I'm running. Like I'm working early in the morning. I go work out, come back, put in more work. Like when I'm done with you guys, it's probably gonna be 11:30 at night here in Miami. I'm gonna go jog. I'm gonna come back. I'm probably gonna I'm working on another book. I'm gonna do that, and then I probably get to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. But man, I'm gonna be right back up 6 o'clock. And I have my days where I get my sleep or whatever. But that's where I'm at. But a lot of these people, man, they pretty much they messing the game up.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's man, it's a lot of them. I mean, a lot of these cats be doing licensing deals, claiming they own stuff, and all they did is get a paycheck to promote stuff. I mean, a lot of, like you said, a ton of celebrities do that, and I think we're enamored, especially in our community, with celebrity for some reason. I don't understand why. When we should be enamored with doctors, lawyers, CPAs, businessmen, but we're enamored with them for whatever reason, and they can just say something that ain't true. You don't even check the fact check on them, and you just go start following them. But let somebody like you been down in the trenches, figure things out because you were in the abyss like I was in the abyss, and we worked our way out. And then we start talking to people. It's almost like, oh, what's your credentials? What are, it's almost like they want to see all this flossing and this bling stuff. And I'm just like, man, I've been there, done that. I'm not doing that no more because I don't need to impress anybody. I'm happy 100% with who I am, and I just want to be living my life without being bothered, and I'm trying to be famous. So when you're working with people with personal credit and then they want to become first-time entrepreneurs, what are one or two, three things that you tell them they need to have in place to be prepared for the opportunity? One of the things I do is I tell people about getting incorporated, getting their certifications in terms of minority certifications, because you'll never know when an opportunity will come up, like right now with COVID. And one of our members, we got her in the certification process back in October, and then when COVID hit, she was 3/4 of the way finished, and I was like, stay in line because a lot of other people are just gonna quit. And sure enough, she stayed in line, got a certification, and now got some other opportunities that other people don't have because they just quit. And I know you ain't about quitting. So what would be one or two, three things you would share with that person that want to go from, you know, personal income to starting a business and setting up right for when those other opportunities that are just what I call serendipity, like the deal we just did. There's no way we would have known about that deal, but we had our ducks in a row, and it allowed us to take advantage of the opportunity where somebody might have outworked us, but we were just better prepared.
I mean, the first anytime that I do engage somebody, like I don't engage people as much as I used to, but man, my whole philosophy from the get go is you got to get the bag, and what I mean by that is like I talk to people sometimes, and they might say something like I'm a real estate investor, and a lot of people make this statement, and I always come back and I say, you don't have no money, you're not a real estate investor. You just playing. So when I engage somebody and you ask me what my focus is, if they don't have no money, then I'm strictly gonna focus on what they look like on paper, which is essentially their credit. And we'll evaluate that. the next thing that I'm going to look at, if I spend some time with them, I'm going to see how motivated they are. Because people can talk and they can be like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And eventually it'll show up whether this person is, they don't really want it. They'll be happy with living out the rest of their life, working for somebody else. And there's no knock to anybody that choose to do that. But that's initially my approach, because whatever they're trying to do, they gotta be doing it because that's what they want to do, not because they're following the crowd. Like, okay, I live in a city that's the majority of the city is African American. So okay, everybody's gonna do a hot running place. Everybody's gonna do a car wash. Everybody's gonna do my wife has one, but gonna do a boutique. Everybody's gonna sell hair weave, right? So, but it's like, do you really want to do that? Is that really gonna make you happy? Or are you still trying to, basically what you're moving from being an employee to a glorified employee? Like, do you really want to do this? And then you have to put your mind in a space where you can't be afraid of, if you hear people talk about these big ideas.
Right.
Like, I could be in the circle with some people say, hey, man, I just invested in a cargo ship. Hell, my next move, man, how can I invest in a cargo plane? Some people, they might look, man, get out of here. Like, yeah, okay. But that's real to me, and it's very important that I control my environment. And I say it to other people, it's very important that you control your environment and the people that's around you, because they truly can affect your energy and how you vibrate. But going back to what you said, that's the first thing. If they have no money, okay, let's see what you look like on paper. This is what you look like on paper. Okay, these are the moves that we got to make. Okay, we need to add some primary. I got somebody I've been dealing with for over 10 years with. Oh, you do have a business. Okay, I got a guy I've been dealing with for over 10 years. He got these business codes. So I know they're gonna come through with it. So once we got that, okay, I know which banks to go to. I know which banks to go to. Before we even start applying, we're gonna open up accounts at these banks. We're gonna make a couple of weekly deposits. We'll do this for about 30, 60 days or whatever. So you can bring things into fruition financially within 90 days, but you got to be running.
Right.
Every day you got to be working on it. So that's always my starting point when I do engage people. And then I'm not gonna lie to you. At this point in my life, I'm even looking to see, is it worth me putting my time and energy into it? Because at the end of the day, once I get them to a position, hey, I might want to, can I do business with this person? So I evaluate all of that.
Man, it's so amazing that you said that, Corey. And I don't want to take up any more of your time with the technical difficulties. And I'm sure we're gonna be able to come back and do this again and chop it up. That's one of the hardest challenges, when most of the heavy lifting is like they talk about a rocket. 98% of the fuel is burned in a rocket in the liftoff, and then when it gets into space, it just physics gets involved. So one of the challenges I have personally is that you'll see how somebody is on paper or what they got, and it's a lot of work that they got to do for 3 to 5, 6 weeks, and then you do that work, and then they don't appreciate it, and they want more from you, and be like, well, hey man, I gave you the foundation. This is why we spent all this time. So now you should better go and do this on your own, because I can't keep holding your hand. I mean, you're not a baby anymore, but you got to be willing to go at it hard. Discipline. I always talk about 2 dirty little words: accountability and discipline. And that sounds like the same thing that you're talking about, because those are principles of success. Be it if we do it in credit, if we do it in finances, if we do it in academics, those things are not negotiable. So what's a takeaway? What book, where can we find you? And how can we continue the dialogue to bring people actually ready to talk to Corey P. Smith and actually be ready to do the work to engage with you? Because I mean, I know you everywhere, and it was a blessing for us to catch up with you. But I really want to create significance. And I think that's the path where you on, where I have a definition that we go through in life. We go through struggle, we get out of college, we're breaking our butts to get through college, or we go to, trade schools or something like that. Then we start creating success where we make a little bit of money, that we get the comfortable middle class lifestyle that America was built on the fake premise. But then when you have that success, the significance is teaching somebody else how to do that, like you did with the homeless guys, and then duplicating that for your legacy. Because at the end of the day, like you said, you want to make your name right for you and your wife. So how do we get to that bridge with Corey P. Smith for somebody who wants to have success and help shine the light on the significant legacy that you are built for the past, 10 years of the work that I've studied and found out about
Uh, well, I mean, I'm not hard to find in terms online. Like you Google me, my website is there, Corey P. Smith. You can send a message, or I'm on Facebook, Corey P. Smith. Instagram, I actually ended up shutting my Instagram page down. I started a new one called Conspiracy of Credit. I'm on Twitter, Corey P. Smith, LinkedIn. Everything's Corey P. Smith. Uh, I am relaunching a course that I had initially launched in December called the Credit Rich Masterclass. But because of the underwriters and them dealing with credit, I had to shut it down, and I had to come back with Accelerator Entrepreneur Academy, which I'm trying to relaunch there in the next few weeks. So people will be able to buy this course and learn how to look for funding overseas, and likewise people overseas can learn how to secure funding within the United States. But any of these places you can find me, you can email me at Credo Company Books at gmail.com, or you can just find me on Facebook and message me. Like I'm accessible from a standpoint where I can respond. I'll respond. My main thing is this, man. I just want to teach people how to hustle. I really want to. I have a saying. I have two sayings actually. One, you can always borrow $1,000,000 faster than you can ever make it on a job.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so if people really could grasp that concept, they'll understand. Like, man, there are no shortcuts. But hell, you made 50,000 a year. It would take you 20 years to make that on the job. But if you put the right paperwork in place, man, you can borrow $1,000,000 in a year. On the corporate side, you did it right. So I'm just trying to teach people how to hustle. I ain't never trying to just outright, hey, go buy my book, go buy my book. But even if you choosing to engage me, like if it's somebody, I'll read a book, or I'll research somebody just to let me see how this person thinks. So I'll be like, even if you really wanted to know how my mind operates, I'll be like, man, pick up one of the books that I put together, and they'll give you some insight into it. Like, man, this how this guy thinks. Because I ain't gonna sit here and tell you like, bro, I don't always play fair in this world that we live in. I don't. Even like I don't, because I know they not.
That's funny you say that, Corey, because I don't believe in fair. I believe a fair is where pigs get slaughtered and where people win prizes. This is a word about just and equity. And then can you leverage those, just like a fulcrum. So yeah, fair. And Trump says this, hey, life ain't fair. Some people born with a whole bunch of money, some people never gonna have any money. And that's unfortunate, but it ain't got nothing to do with fair.
Yeah, and I say this, man, I won't talk too much. And the reason why I'm like that, man, because I've seen this up close and personal. Like, my story. Like, I seen this up close and personal with the feds coming at me, with the Secret Service coming at me, with the head of the Economics Crime Bureau and Memphis Police Department coming at me.
And you beat them all.
Yeah, but because it was nothing, but it was just information that I was able to manipulate to put my family ahead. And it's like, man, it's like they don't want to see you. They don't want to really see you get no bread unless you damn near bouncing a ball or throwing a football or doing something like that. Oh, we gotta know you. Oh, we don't, who is this guy? And I did it all with credit, and I just finessed it into books and the other things I've been able to do. Like even this building that I'm in right now, like I'm in one of my spots right now, but I
Okay.
got like 4 units in this building that I'm in right now in Miami, and it slowed down when the coronavirus hit, but it picked back up. But all this was done with credit, you know, even with the rental properties and cars, whatever. But anyway,
Is
that's my
that what the reintroduction of the master class is going to be about? Can we come back on in a couple of weeks and talk about the relaunch of the master class and get some people enrolled into it? I would love to talk about that with what's coming out of the pipeline.
Yeah, most definitely, and I'll make sure that I'm on my laptop. I was running today, but you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity just to be able to, you know, just share, for us to be able to collectively share some of our ideas, our views, and our opinions on you know how we live our life, and it might click with somebody that's listening because man, it's so much opportunity out here, but a person has to be willing to really tap into who they are spiritually, who they are emotionally. Uh, they have to be able to tap into that, and it always leads you in the right direction into the right person. So, you know,
Right.
we were able to at least do this tonight.
Right. Yeah, you know, it's a matter of right place, right time. It was meant for us to finally connect. Even though I heard you five and a half years ago on Bro Rich show, now it's like, you know what? It's time for us to put this together and figure out how we can help people collectively. So, hey man, I'm honored. Thank you very much for your time. Want to be able to get and do this in a couple more weeks so we can talk about your master class, introduce you to a couple of people that are in the same lane with us on the same pathway. And you said the most important thing is the mental intelligence, emotional quotient, the emotional intelligence. That is more important than anything because a lot of people have the talent and the skill, but they don't have the intestinal fortitude to just persevere when they think things are stacked against them. And all it does is build muscle mentally to conquer everything in front of you. I mean, I've been saying, Veni Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. My grandmother told me it ain't over until you win, baby. Until you stop trying and you got dirt on you, it's still a chance for you to win.
Right. There's no other option. There's no option. We have no other option but to win. That's right. I tell my daughters that. There's no option.
Oh man, that is awesome. So hey man, I'm gonna wrap it up. Nick, 30 seconds, man, to say what you got because we already took up more than Mr. Smith's time with all the technical problems because he's free. He let us get by with that because we just figuring this thing out. What you got? What you learned, Nick?
Yeah, well, Corey, definitely thank you for giving us your time, and you have helped me indirectly. I started out as a client of DJ's about a year ago, and towards the end of 2019, I was a victim of fraud as well. So I was telling DJ about it, and he was helping me with my credit. Yeah, he told me to go get those affidavits filled out. And I went and got it done. And what you said about execution and putting in the work is true. Just getting that account removed required a lot of footwork. Getting them filled out, sending them out to all the credit bureaus, the FTC, getting the police report, getting it notarized, taking it to the post office. It was a lot of footwork, but your credit is just as important as your name, and you have to be willing to invest in that, invest the time into it, and invest the money with it. As far as getting a good CPA and a tax attorney, so those are my takeaways. Thank you for helping me indirectly, and also another shameless plug. I have a show on Fridays, and once a month, we're going to be talking about a book. Doing a book discussion.
Yeah.
So discussion.
Put that book up.
Going to be on this one right here, Conspiracy and Credit.
Yeah, my man.
That's our book club, Corey. That's our next. That's actually our second book, and you after my favorite hero, Reginald F. Lewis, and you the second, man. So your book is going to be part of our book of the month club, brother.
Right.
Okay,
right. Yeah. So for those out there listening, join the discussion. Go on CoreyPSmith.com and order that book, so you can join in this book discussion.
Absolutely. So, hey, Corey, hey, man, 30, 60 seconds, wrap us up, and we out of here, brother, because we appreciate all your time, brother.
Man, no doubt. I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. I look forward to coming back, and we could do it bigger and better the next time, So, and like I said, anybody want to find me, they could Google Corey P. Smith, or I'm on Facebook. Everything's Corey P. Smith, and like I said, I'm accessible. I'll respond if I can. If not, eventually I'll respond.
Absolutely. Hey, so guys and gals out there, we always end this the same way. I'm DJ the Money Coach. I want to wish you a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind, and I would love for you to come travel the world and the Beaches of the Month Club with us, because, hey, you can't take this stuff with you. Corey will tell you it's better to get a line of credit of $1 million than work, 20 years making 50K. It's a lot easier pathway. You don't have to bust your head when you got smart experts around you. So I'm going to say salute, peace. This is our story. We catch you on the next side. Thanks a lot, Corey. We'll be in touch with you again, brother. Thanks.
All right.